Warning: the following podcast is utter nonsense and may cause agoraphobia, kleptomania, insomnia, and oppositional defiance disorder. We are required by law to provide you with this disclaimer for hazardous materials.
And welcome back to Hazardous Materials. We got a special one for you today. We are going to deep dive into what could have been. We both watched the 4-hour epic that was the Snyder Cut on HBO Max with Justice League. But lo and behold, Justice League 2 and 3 were actually planned out.
So a couple weeks ago, there was a big kind of showing for like the Snyder Cut in Dallas with a bunch of costumes and stuff. But the most interesting thing there was some big like whiteboard tablets, basically, that are Snyder's kind of like his overall plot for Justice League 2 and 3 with illustrations by Jim Lee. And it's wild.
So we're going to get into that. But before we get all started, I am Casey Johnson. With me as always,
Gideon Gonzalez. And
Gideon Gonzalez is the one with all the news on this one.
Yeah.
Because I did not read any of this nonsense.
I'm a real big Snyder guy, so when I saw people posting about it, I was like, holy shit. And I had to like rapidly save them because I was worried that they would get taken down or something. But you can still find them pretty readily. And we're going to be having them right there if you want to see that sweet, sweet Jim Lee art.
Yeah, he does actually put a few things in there. You sent this over our little chat thing.
Yeah, when
like,
this broke, yeah.
I can't read all that stuff, man. With my broken eyes, I'm just going to let you just tell it to me, and I'm just going to absorb it as it hits.
I was in the middle of watching a Star Trek Enterprise episode when it dropped, and I was like, this is way more interesting than what's on TV.
You have never said truer words.
So anyways, Justice League 2. Dun dun. So, as you might have gathered from the post-credit scene of the theatrical version of Justice League, more importantly, the near the end of the movie in the Snyder Cut, that Lex Luthor's putting together a little Legion of Doom secret society team, and that's what the focus of this middle movie's about. So we open up, and the Justice League is out doing Justice League stuff, heroic things. They're saving refugees. Political leaders around the world are like, there wasn't their place to interfere, and they're like, well, we're just saving lives.
Sounds like the Avengers.
Hey, man, that's not at all what was going on. So they're regrouping at the Batcave, which is their base of operations, and Clark is kind of weird and spacey because he has actually abandoned the Clark Kent identity. Since his resurrection, he has just been Superman because he's like, well, Clark's legally dead. So
is he?
Well, yeah, because he died in the
That's true.
Yeah, in Batman v Superman. So Superman has just been like kind of like weird and spacey. Things with Lois are a little fraught. Wonder Woman wants to go back to Themyscira, but she can't.
Why can't she go back to Themyscira?
Oh, because when she left, there's a whole thing. It's like you cannot return once you leave.
That's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, that's what was in Wonder Woman in 2017.
Oh.
Also, I should state that this was basically their pitch to Warner Brothers before Batman v Superman was made, so there are some continuity incongruities. They're not really massive ones. One's kind of big, but we'll get to that when we cross it. So, Aquaman is dealing with underwater politics stuff. Flash and Cyborg are working to get Barry's dad out of jail, because Cyborg's like, well, I can access, like, a ton of security cameras and yada yada and all sorts of stuff.
And that was why Cyborg was supposed to be in the Flash movie.
Yes, exactly. So they're working on that. Meanwhile, Batman and Lois are working on tracking down Lex Luthor. And they have a pretty tense conversation, and Batman's like, Clark needs you. Da-da-da-da. Go away. And then he's like sad and lonely in the Batcave.
Okay.
But meanwhile,
Lex
Luthor is out and about getting his dream team together. Starting with Dr. Poison, you may remember from the first Wonder Woman movie, who has kept herself alive all these years with her mastery of chemistry.
Oh, the one with the face mask?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Lex Luthor's like, hey, you want to get revenge on that crazy super person that like helped end World War I and defeated you? Well, I got your back.
Talk about basic names. Dr. Poison.
Hey, man, she was made like in the 40s.
Just right on the nose.
Superman was a novel name at the time.
God, can you imagine it? Well, who are you? I'm Mr. Bad Guy.
It's Badgie, actually, is how it's pronounced.
What was I thinking?
Then, from what was going to be in the Flash movie, Leonard Snart, Captain Cold.
Mm-hmm.
Lex Luthor busts him out of jail and is like, hey, I was taking a look at your cold gun here, and I souped it up and made it way more powerful. And he's like, cool, what do I got to do? He's like, what you're going to do anyway, kill the Flash. And he's like, dope, I'm in.
I could have dealt with a Captain Cold cameo.
Yeah. And he gets Black Manta and Ocean Master from the Aquaman movie.
Black Manta was really cool.
God, I love Black Manta's costume. And I love the character.
He was the best part of Aquaman.
My favorite part of the movie is when his dad is dying and he goes, you have to live, son, so you can kill that son of a bitch.
It was so...
Cracked me up.
Oh, God. Black Manta was like the evilest of bad guys.
And then from what would have been the Batfleck solo movie, Deathstroke and the Riddler.
God, it's heartbreaking watching interviews with the actor that was I can't say
Joe Manganiello?
I can't say his last name to save my life, and so I always avoid doing it.
Noted D&D aficionado.
Yes, and just watching him just completely heartbroken over the fact he had a 3-picture deal for Deathstroke, and all he really got to do was walk on a boat.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I saw in a recent interview he's talking was like, hey, like I'm still down for it. I've naturally grayed into the role now, so
yeah.
So hopefully we get that.
Guys,
Fingers
he was
crossed.
a great-looking Deathstroke.
Yeah, and he's a great actor. Such a fun personality. He can nail the physicality of the role.
You know, they would do right if they just straight out made a Deathstroke film.
Yeah, that's what they
They
want
got
to do.
plenty of material.
That was the plan.
Oh, really? Because I knew they were going to do him in he was going to do the Batfleck film.
Yeah.
And then he was going to be involved in like Justice League 2.
Yeah. But I think they want to do like the Raid style movie with him, where it's like a low budget but like kick-ass action movie.
I would be all about that.
Yeah. So anyways, Lex is like, and here is our evil plan, but they cut away because they want it to be a surprise what the plan is. So we cut to Batman is out in the woods and he's tracked down the Riddler. This is like sometime later. Lex assumedly has already worked with the Riddler.
I've always noticed something about movies. When bad guy or good guy is about to put down his plan, if there's a cut right before he says the plan, that means the plan's going to work.
We'll see.
Every time.
So Batman finds the Riddler in the woods, and he sees all this like crazy stuff scrawled on the wall. And the Riddler reveals that Lex Luthor assigned him to solve the anti-life equation, and he did it.
Of course he did.
And then this part made me laugh because it's a bit too on the nose even for me. The Riddler grabs a gun and says, "Time to solve the ultimate riddle," and shoots himself. Which I like the idea of someone being so horrified by the anti-life equation that they kill themselves, but the one-liner's very silly.
That is so silly. You know what was really strange? It took me a long time to conceptualize what the anti-life equation was as I grew up. Because I heard about it, but my interest in Darkseid was always kind of, You know, he just always seemed like that other villain that DC's got, and he's got the zigzag laser beam eyes, and he's always talking about afterlife or anti-life, excuse me.
Man, Kid Casey's killing me right now because you know I'm a big Darkseid dude.
I know you are. I know you are. Darkseid never really did anything for me because of my lack of interest in the New Gods and stuff like that. You know about my completely heretical views on Jack Kirby's creations, especially in the 70s.
I hate her. I'm beset on all sides. King haters.
Yeah, so I didn't really understand about it until Final Crisis, I think, was...
The Grant Morrison story, which
really showcased the anti-life equation. It's like, oh, that's what it is.
When I stare into your soul and kill your dreams, it is with 6 billion eyes. When I raise a fist in anger, it is with 3 billion hands.
So it really comes down to it. The anti-life equation is basically the removal of free will.
Yeah, it shows that life is meaningless outside of service to Darkseid.
Die for Darkseid.
Yeah, die for Darkseid, man. So, also, I just want to note, another thing I don't love about this movie's version of the Riddler is, of course, in a world where the Joker has damage written on his forehead, the Riddler has a little question mark tattoo around his eye.
Oh, how very Bishop.
So, Batman's like pretty shook up by this. He's like, "Oh man, this is bad news bears." And meanwhile, the Justice League is like reuniting with their families. Like Wonder Woman has like went on a little vision quest earlier, like tying the lasso around herself and accessing like forgotten memories to get home to Themyscira, so she's able to return home. Aquaman and Mira are doing like courtly proceedings and quashing the last of the Seven Seas armies and trying to get everyone united. Flash and Cyborg just got Barry's dad cleared, and so they're able to like hug for the first time in years. That's very sweet, very touching. And then Lex Luthor, Batman gets notified that gets called by Lois that like, hey, the mother boxes are missing, and Batman's like, oh no. And Lex Luthor activates the mother boxes. And while he's doing that, simultaneously, the villains all strike. Dr. Poison just like gasses Themyscira and kills everyone on it, including Wonder Woman. Orm and Black Manta show up and just destroy like the Atlantean castle, and Orm takes over. Mira, they straight up kill Arthur like with his own trident, and Mira is able to escape. Captain Cold is gonna straight up like kill Barry, but Cyborg like slides in front of him and loses his legs, and Barry has to like pick up his torso and run off with him.
I see where this is going.
And
this is going.
Meanwhile, Darkseid boom tubes in front of Lex Luthor, and he's like, I want the Kryptonian. And Lex is like, yes, kill him for me, since I brought you here. And he's like, no, I simply want his will broken. And so Lex Luthor's like, well, you should kill Lois Lane. That's what you gotta do. That's what I tried doing. So Darkseid boom tubes away with Lex Luthor to the Batcave, where Batman and Lois are like, it's just going down. We can't get a hold of anyone. What's happening? And Superman's also there. And Darkseid just Omega beams Lois Lane. And okay.
I'm just saying. I'm seeing death.
Yeah.
Death. All I can hear in my head is flashpoint.
Oh, we'll get there. So, Superman, when we saw this in the Snyder Cut, he falls to his knees. He's in anguish, and Darkseid puts his hand on his shoulder and looks at him, and because it's his moment of weakness, he's lost his concentration, and his mind is susceptible to the anti-life equation. So it's not, because that was one of the things that always bugged me in the dark future that we'd seen in Batman v Superman. Is like, I hate evil Superman stuff. It's so lame. But I'm much more okay with it being a Superman broken by the anti-life equation.
Now, that makes a lot more sense.
Exactly.
Than the whole injustice.
Yeah, I was like Superman, like Lois dying wouldn't turn Superman into a dictator. That's stupid. But that would like mess him up really bad and leave him susceptible to Darkseid's influence. So Batman is like watching this go down. He's like, oh my god, because he's like, there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, I'm boned. It's freaking Superman and Darkseid.
Lex Luthor's like, yes, now I will rule the world. And Superman, controlled by Darkseid, just like whips his head around and just zoom, incinerates Lex Luthor.
How did Lex Luthor is a smart man? How does he not see that coming?
And then Superman flies up, like causing the Batcave to collapse in. Batman manages to escape, and we smash cut to 5 years later, and it's Batman out in the wastelands with his Batmax outfit. The remnants of the Justice League are with him, and he's like, we have to move now. We have to enact the plan. Not in this version, but presumably, yes, he would have been.
Okay.
But yeah, and that's Justice League 2. Ends on a major down note of everyone's dead.
So basically what you're trying to tell me is that Justice League 2 is Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
In every sense of the word.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot to take in on this one. You just don't... Okay, when the first death happens, that's when shock happens. But, man, anytime you're dealing, especially when superhero movies, when the second death happens, you know time travel is involved. And it's going to happen. We both know it.
Oh,
Let's just get the ball rolling. So that's the reason why, as soon as you told me the second death, now I'm on the third, fourth. Now we got Lois Lane and Luthor dead. Flashpoint.
It's like, man, there's not much of a DC universe left.
Yeah, we got Flashpoint. Flashpoint's going to wipe this whole thing clean, but it's going to leave a deep scar, just like Flashpoint originally did.
So, well, yeah, when I was reading this initially, I was in the tank for this. I was like, oh, this is rad. This is cool. You know, I'm a big Legion of Doom guy. That's like my favorite villain team. And it's like, oh, this is rad. Captain Cold getting the respect he deserves. Doing something cool with Dr. Poison. Because I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed her in that first Wonder Woman movie. Because, I mean, she's kind of...
She's great.
Yeah, that's it. But she wasn't... She was one of those Wonder Woman villains that suffers the Wonder Woman problem of getting reinvented every time someone brings her back.
Yeah.
But this felt like a good take that I think could last.
Yeah, you know what? I when I watched Wonder Woman, I think I missed a couple of key scenes on her.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem when I'm watching movies, especially when I'm watching them in theaters, and I'll get really sleepy. No matter what kind of crazy stuff. And as a matter of fact, the more action on the screen, the liable I am to drift off. Never figured out why it happens. It just does. So I'm pretty sure I missed a couple of key scenes of Dr. Poison. And as cool as she looks, I feel like I've done myself a disservice, and I probably need to watch Wonder Woman.
You should. It's a good movie.
For the third time. Because I tried it again. The second time, it did the same thing. So I think a third watching is in my future. Oh, God, this is only slightly tertiary what we're talking about, but it speaks to what you were talking about before we started. I've had time to reflect on Wonder Woman 84.
It ain't good.
It ain't good.
Nope. It's just another example of that Jeff Johns just does not understand or care to understand Wonder Woman. He just is so uninvested. Cheetah's there because, like, Cheetah's a Wonder Woman thing, right? So we got to have her.
I think we talked about the fact that Cheetah was simply there so that there could be a fight
Yeah.
in the movie.
Ugh, man. Don't make me talk about a bad movie when I'm in
Sorry, man. I know you're in the throes of something really good here.
Throes of passion.
Okay. So we got Luthor dead. We got the Nightmare with a K.
Exactly.
Future is in full play, which they teased in. And what I'm kind of curious is, maybe I didn't catch this, but why is Joker so important?
See, interestingly enough, he's not at all in this pitch.
Okay.
So
he's another absentee.
Exactly. I did not like the nightmare sequence in the Snyder Cut. It felt completely tacked on and unnecessary. And like a lot of characters, because like Deathstroke also isn't present in this version of it. But it feels like Snyder wanted to like get people he wanted to work with back. He's like he wanted to have, if nothing else is going to happen in this universe, he wanted to have one scene where Batman and the Joker interact. Because
it seemed like that Snyder like got rid of a lot of the Nightmare stuff, like Batman being caught, Superman killing the captives, possibly killing him.
That was in BVS.
Was that in BVS?
Yeah,
I thought that was in Justice League.
No, that was in BVS.
Oh, they really dragged that Nightmare thing out, didn't they?
Yeah. And again, I hated, I still am not crazy about the Nightmare scene in BVS because it completely kind of kills the flow of the movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
But with the context, again, of it being a Darkseid controlled Superman, I think it's much more interesting.
Yeah. God, it never really occurred to me that it was in BVS. It's been a long time since I watched that movie.
It's a great one. I love it.
It's much better than Justice League.
Yeah.
Both versions.
Yeah. Watch your mouth. So Justice League 3, we open on the Nightmare Earth, and flying towards said Nightmare Earth is a big old green ball of energy. It's one grizzled Green Lantern veteran, Harold Jordan, flying in after years of Earth being a no-fly zone. He's going to check in on his home planet himself, and immediately beset by parademons. And he's like, ah! And his bubble gets kind of like dragged, he falls, and he's on the ground. They're about to eat him, but then he's saved by Batman and the remnants of the Justice League, made up of Batman, obviously, the Flash with Cyborg's torso like in a little backpack, Mira, and Deadshot.
Deadshot?
Yeah, Will Smith himself.
I'll be. So
they save Hal, and they kind of catch him up on what's all going on, and he's like, it's Superman. That's scary stuff. He's controlled by Darkseid. I've heard tales of this Darkseid character. And Batman's like, yeah, we all have. We all saw Justice League. And so, but Batman tells Hal, it's like, you can probably help us with our big plan. and they reveal that Cyborg they've been like basically collecting tech for him, and he's building a cosmic treadmill, and they're gonna send Barry back in time.
So, okay, before we start doing this, which I saw coming 5 miles away, why is this a Green Lantern no-fly zone?
Because it's Darkseid territory. They're like, we ain't touching that.
But even before that, in Justice League, when they were doing Justice League, I was watching it, they said that the planet is not protected by a Kryptonian or a Lantern.
I don't know about that. I don't have a good answer. I guess Abin Sur was just like, that's not my problem.
It's not my bag.
They're like, Abin Sur.
I'm the other sector. Just over.
Like, he's chilling out with Tamar when Krypton blew up.
Yeah.
So, Hal is like, okay, yeah, I'll help you guys out. And Batman's like, cool, we're going to steal a mother box. It's the last component Cyborg needs to finish this. We can hook up with that, and we can shoot Barry back in time. And before they go out to do their mission, Batman's like, all right, Barry, we got one shot at this. You need to go back in time. You need to tell me one thing. And Barry's like, okay, tell him that Lois is the key. And he's like, no, that's not going to work. Let me tell you what you're going to say to him. And he whispers something, and Flash goes, what? But we don't know what it is yet.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Meanwhile, they get ready to do, they're like, all right, let's do this. Let's go get this mother box. They drive in like a Mad Max style Batmobile, all Fury Road-esque. It specifically says Fury Road in the storyboard
because it's a pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're rolling up to a cathedral that's all like bombed out, but there are humans affected by anti-life worshiping the mother box there, and so they're like, grab it, and of course, they grab it, and then it goes a big old ping, 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 ping.
As
like,
mother boxes are wont to do.
Batman's like, oh, shit. And Superman flies in.
Yeah.
And first off, Deadshot's in the tower. He's got a kryptonite bullet. He shoots. Superman dodges it. And Deadshot's like, oh, no. And Superman just, boom, barrels through, killing him. I should also note that Deadshot gets a line when the League's all meeting up to do their plan, in a scene that is called, and I kid you not, The Last Supper of the Justice League.
Oh,
because
okay.
I love my boy Zach. Does not have an ounce of subtlety in his body, and I adore him.
No, there really isn't any at this
So
point.
presumably we've gotten a shot of like Batman in the middle and everyone's around. But Deadshot has a scene where he tells Hal Jordan about the parademons, how they're like their people mutated.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, parademons are that made it into the theatrical cut of Justice League.
Did it?
But yeah, traditionally parademons are like transformed people.
I did not know that.
So, oh no, they showed in the Snyder cut too, because there's like a quick shot in the flashback sequence of a guy mutating into a parademon. But anyways, he's like, yeah, I had to watch my own daughter turn into one of those monsters, which is a scene I do not know if modern Will Smith could carry the dramatic weight of.
No, and that would be a big deal too, especially
given the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. You know, I like the fact that they didn't recast Will Smith in this new Suicide Squad, and that leaves the door open for our boy Deadshot to do some James Gunn stuff.
We'll see. Yeah, hopefully we get Will Smith back.
This movie's gonna make bank.
I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna make some money.
But anyways,
we diverge.
Yes, exactly. So first, Deadshot dies. Then Mira's like doing some water stuff. Superman just says, nope. Flies through her too.
Saw
Gone.
that coming.
Hal Jordan's like, ah, shit. And whips out his ring and he starts doing some constructs. And Superman has like dark, like kind of like purple streaks in it apparently, because he's got a little bit of Omega beams mixed in with his heat vision, and just annihilates his construct, slices off Hal Jordan's hand. He's dead. You got him. Cyborg is like, beep, 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 beep. Go, Barry, go. And Superman lasers him. He's dead.
Yes, because you got to kill everybody else
Exactly.
off.
And then Batman's the last one standing, and Superman's just boom.
And that's the end of our Borbats.
And Barry's like, pew! He's taking off. He's going back in time. And he arrives right before, when Bruce and Lois are like in the Bat Cave, there's a tense argument before they find out that the League's been being taken out. So Barry skids in, and he says, Lois lied. You're the father. Dun, dun, dun.
That's quite the reveal.
Yeah, big twist. So this would have been an element that you can kind of see some. Well, you almost see some traces in the Snyder Cut. The only hint is that Lois has a pregnancy test in her drawer. But in the initial idea, during Justice League, when Superman is dead, Bruce and Lois would have like kindled a relationship in mourning, but like broken things off because they were like, this is weird and not right. And apparently she got pregnant with Bruce's child. And so Batman's like, oh shit, what? And it kind of like shocks him. And Lois is like, I was about to tell you, the Justice League is about to be under attack.
That I could see that be a hard sell. And even after you've made the film,
Yeah.
still a hard sell.
Yeah. I definitely kind of reacted with revulsion the first time I read it because it took me out of it completely. I was like, wait a minute.
That really does dump ice water in the entire film. And you're like sitting there going, okay, is he lying?
There is a nugget that I will get back to later of what kind of won me over on the idea.
Okay.
I think it's not quite as depicted in this pitch. I think it lands in a weird spot by the end, but I think there's a really good narrative idea in there.
Okay.
So, things are going as they were. Lex activates the mother boxes. Darkseid arrives and is about to Omega Beam Lois, but this time, Bruce dives in the way.
Does Bruce get whacked?
Bruce does not instantly die because he had like that heat ray absorbing stuff.
That's right.
But it's still like it's slowly corroding him.
That's good to know that particular aspect was that early in the whole.
Like so he
pitch.
whips like his gauntlet off and he's like his hands like turning purple and like all energy looking. So he's like,
But he's gonna live.
Exactly.
Okay.
Superman arrives as he did then because like he heard Lois's scream. He arrives in the Batcave, just boxes Darkseid back into a boom tube, and Lois and he's like, "Are y'all okay?" And they're like, "Yeah." And Lois is like, "You gotta go. Like the League's under attack in their homes." And so Superman like stops Dr. Poison. He goes and protects Arthur from Aquaman and Black Manta. He's I guess just like scoops up Captain Cold and takes him to jail.
Yep. Yes.
And they're like, "Alrighty, Darkseid's invading. It's going on now. Let's go." So the Justice League, as the world is being attacked. Wonder Woman makes like an impassioned plea to the world of like, we have to unite in this time of crisis. The whole world is the Justice League now. And so all of humanity teams up. While also Arthur rallies the armies of Atlantis to go up to the surface to help out. Diana is able to get the Amazons to come. So it's like kind of paralleling the history lesson where all the forces of Earth. And while this is going on, who arrives in space but the Green Lantern Corps rolls up.
Now I'm in.
A fresh-faced Hal Jordan.
I'm in now. Okay, so it's my understanding, and we've talked about this, is that at the very end of Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut, we were going to see Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
It should have happened.
We got a Martian Manhunter that had no business being in the movie at all.
Hated that. Martha Manhunter. Why?
No point.
Why? Ruined such a beautiful, touching scene that it is me, Martian Manhunter, all along.
There's probably no other way for them to insert him in there, and for him to be any level relevant. So I get why HBO didn't want to do this, because HBO is in the midst of doing the Green Lantern Corps series that we're going to see later on this year.
If we can handle two Flashes, we can handle two different Green Lanterns.
I mean, one would think, but I guess this close, because
maybe, yeah.
This whole core thing is happening this year.
I still think it's hysterical that you can tell there was that Ben Affleck's scene there was filmed with Green Lanterns in mind, because he makes no comment on that man being a Martian whatsoever. It's all very general, just like, what? Who are you? Okay, bye.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it's the right energy for that scene. Let me be clear, but
he could have been talking to anybody at that point.
Exactly.
Abraham Lincoln could have flown down there on a big silver surfboard.
And then,
all right,
Abraham Lincoln turns around and goes, "Oh, and by the way, some call me the Martian Manhunter." Which is how I will try to exit every conversation from here on out.
Everything from now on, anything has no bearing on what we're talking about. Is like, you know what? Some call me the Martian Manhunter.
I could have helped. I elected not to. You guys seem to have it. Bye. But I want to be in the next one.
There's so many problems with that.
It's just.
I was just want to watch. You guys seem to have it all wrapped up.
You ever watch a superhero fight? It's very engrossing. You can't tear yourself away.
Yeah.
They should make movies of this stuff. So in this final battle, we get to see kind of the Justice League assuming their final form, so to speak. Wonder Woman is leading the Amazons. Aquaman's got the whole Legion of the Ocean with him.
Mm-hmm.
Flash is like saving lives and taking out parademons, and realizes that he is in two places at once. That he is like, like in Kingdom Come when the Flash is righting all wrongs and he's somehow omnipresent.
Yeah.
That basically is what Barry does.
This sounds like Endgame.
But it was written before Endgame.
Do we know this?
This pitch was written before Batman v Superman came out. This would have been like in 2014 when he was pitching to be the DC Universe guy.
So, when it really comes down to it, every large epic superhero story / saga is always going to be satisfied with large armies led by the individual heroes.
I will say this though, I didn't see the Avengers saving any civilians in Endgame. They just fought in an open field. They didn't unite the armies of man to fight.
No, they did not. They were out in the forest. Although, you know what? It was so confusing in the end game. I felt like they were on an alien planet.
Exactly. Yeah. They might as well have been. But Cyborg is able to is kind of like, I'm a fully digital consciousness. I can overpower the mother box, and he does.
Mm-hmm.
And he destroys them. Like he's able to overpower their consciousness to such a degree that they just blow up, and Darkseid's like, ah,
because that's the end of the mother box.
Exactly. And while it does not specify how he does it, Batman gets the killing blow on Darkseid while he's
I figured that they were just going to figure it out during the movie.
I guess so. They're like, and I don't know, Ben runs up and decks him.
Yeah.
It literally just says Batman sacrifices himself to deliver the final blow to Darkseid.
So Batfleck
but how?
Whacked.
Yeah.
Justice League.
Batfleck dies. And we get to the epilogue.
So what you're trying to tell me is that to save the world, I need the armies of all the superheroes, and the rich hero must die.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. Except this
somebody write Endgame.
One of them's the difference is Batman's an ethical billionaire.
Oh.
Batman. Bruce Wayne wasn't making no missiles with his name on them. I'm saying.
Hey! Remember, he stopped making weapons in Iron Man 1.
Yeah, he said I'm sorry for killing civilians.
He did.
But anyways, I digress. We're at the epilogue. Queen Hippolyta has fallen in the battle, and Diana is crowned Queen of the Amazons, and she declares that the Amazons are rejoining the world and negotiates world peace. After this whole army of man thing, everyone's like, hey, you know what? There's aliens out there. Can you tell that Zack's a Watchmen guy? Because he takes kind of the ending of Watchmen there.
Does he now?
Well, yeah, with the whole alien threat unites the world.
I want her to throw a fly in the ointment and open up war with the Atlanteans like in Flashpoint.
And Arthur manages to not only win over the hearts and minds of all the undersea folk, but now is also like, yeah, we're gonna work with the surface dwellers. We're gonna reunite the world. We united the League. Now we unite the world.
That kind of wraps everything up.
Yeah, it ends it. And Cyborg, while he's like a digital being that like kind of got trapped in that form fighting the mother boxes, is able to generate himself a human body.
I saw that coming. Yep. Because that's the only way that you could really end his story.
And meanwhile, Clark and Lois are there mourning their good friend Bruce Wayne, and Lois is like, did he tell you? And he's like, I always kind of knew, but we will raise him in his memory. Which, my initial response was like, what? That's insane. But I really like Clark Kent becoming an adoptive father. I think that's a really beautiful way to tie up his arc, because he himself is an adopted son. And I think him...
How very Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, like him raising another man's child, that's just kind of beautiful to me.
Aw.
It got me.
It's your soft side.
Like, especially like it being Superman. Like, you know, that's such a wholesome, good, just purely good deed.
Have you been watching the new Superman show?
I have not. I've been meaning to, but I have not gotten around to it.
I have not either, but from what I understand, that's the angle of it, is the fact he's got like 2 sons.
Yeah, but but they're biological sons on the show.
Right, but they don't know he's Superman until like,
Yeah.
they're teenagers. And
Which-
then he like lifts a truck.
I was like, are these? Is this version of Lois and Clark old enough to have 2 teenage sons that are played by men who are nearing 30?
Welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah, that's kind of been my like hurdle to get over. But I've heard enough good things. I'll give it a shot when the season's around.
Yeah, I need oh God, there's so many things I need to catch up as far as the CW. Now, I know the CW isn't exactly super quality superhero television, but you know what? They've been holding the torch for a long time, and they deserve credit to keep doing it the way they've been doing it. I mean, they kept so many shows up that NBC, CBS, ABC would have easily canned.
I was gonna say maybe they should have axed because Flash hasn't been good in a good 6 years.
Okay, Flash hasn't been good in 2 years. Flash has had some really good points. I enjoy all the Reverse Flash episodes. I enjoyed the better King Shark episode where they actually spent some money on him, and the Gorilla Grodd episode where they also spent some money.
Yeah.
Because apparently the process to animate King Shark from one year to the other got exceedingly cheaper.
Oh, neat.
So instead
Power
of
of
like the
technology.
one-off, because they did him as a one-off. It's like, hey, check it out, we could actually pull it off. Okay,
Yeah.
he's gone. And it's like, okay, now we're gonna do an entire episode of it because it's super cheap.
Regardless, though, we have one last epilogue because just like the Snyder Cut,
Oh,
there's a movie with many, many endings.
you have more surprises.
Very Lord
for
of the
me.
Rings.
Here I am thinking, oh, okay, this is the end.
We cut to 20 years later, and Commissioner Barbara Gordon is on the news saying crime rates have gone up for the first time in 20 years, and I'm once again lighting the bat signal. Where is the Batman?
Are you about to drop a Batman Beyond on me?
Lois takes Bruce Jr. to the ruins of the Batcave and says, "It's time to inherit your legacy, son." And they turn all the lights on, and he's going to be Batman 2.
I see.
I thought I did like that. I was like, that's kind of silly.
Right as soon as you told me Commissioner Barbara Gordon, because she was the commissioner in Batman
Yeah.
Beyond. I was like, you're about to pull a Beyond on me here. And I would have been totally cool with that. You know, because I think Batman Beyond, which it wasn't my favorite when it 1st came out, has aged well. And I think it definitely needs the resurgence that everything else seems to be getting these days.
So that's Justice League 2 and 3. That is Zack Snyder's entire superhero cycle as he envisioned it.
What are your thoughts?
I really, really like it. There, like every Snyder movie, there's always one thing where I'm like, I don't know if I'm 100% on board with that. But I really love the overarching theme of unity and bringing people together. Like, because you start off on a small scale with the Justice League themselves. You split them off and have them in Justice League 2 reuniting with their families and their personal histories. And then you have, by the end, the entire world is unified.
Oh.
I think that's a really cool theme. And you can see, again, the bones of that in Justice League. Because Batman v Superman is a movie about division, like at its very, very core. And you see this arc working through as things get... Justice League is even the Snyder Cut is a noticeably brighter movie than BVS. Because it is about
This
like
is true.
the superhero community being inspired by Superman's sacrifice. Batman's essentially like a born-again evangelist for Superman.
Yeah, you know, as cynical as I sometimes am, I definitely have my own soft spot. And I have to say that the oat field where Clark sees his mom again.
Yeah. But what if that was Martian Manhunter?
Oh, God, that would totally ruined it. Don't say that, man. It's like the only scene with any severe emotional gravitas.
Now
for
I
me.
want to add a little extra onto this where Batman 2 turns around to Lois and goes, "By the way, some call me the Martian Manhunter."
I don't know why, but suddenly in my head, instead of the guy who did it, I had Thomas Lennon from The State saying that to me.
For Henry Lennox.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So Justice League, what do you think on my dramatic interpretation of Justice League 2 and 3?
I know that something like this would go through a series of rewrites, and there are some aspects to it that I kind of like. Although I like the other polish that it got with Snyder. What I'm talking about is Deathstroke. The inclusion of Deathstroke in the Justice League was very cool. I like that. I'm a big fan of redemptive heroes being in hero teams. So I'm totally on board with that.
And it's a pretty
I was
easy...
even on board with the Deadshot thing.
Yeah, but to say I liked that a lot when I was reading. I was like, oh, I never would have thought they would have tied into Suicide Squad.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have been on board with the Wayne Child thing. I think that they could have rewritten that.
Yeah, I had to sit on it, but when I thought about it, like in the context of who Superman is, I was like, that works for me as a Superman arc.
Yeah, well, we could still have that without it being Wayne's kid.
The biggest problem with it, I think, is that there's not a lot of, even here, there's not a ton of setup for the Lois Bruce relationship.
Yeah.
And apparently, according to Snyder, that was nixed by Warner Brothers very early on. That's why you don't see it at all in the Snyder Cut.
That does not surprise me
The
at all.
problem is then that Lois does not get very much to do at all in Justice League, which is a whole other problem in and of itself.
That's true. I mean, she spends like 80% of the film in mourning.
Yeah.
And
showing up to get Superman's mind back.
Yeah.
But at least in Justice League 2, I like that Snyder has her be an active part of the League, like using her investigative skills to help track down Luthor and the Legion of Doom and piece out what he's doing.
Yes, I did like that.
And I think, that's an interesting seed for her and Bruce's relationships, being they're both like investigators by nature. It's a tough sell, I know.
It is a tough sell, and I could see why I can actually visualize the executives in the room going, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You had me until that. You had me, you son of a gun.
That twist is really what just jerked me out of it when my initial reading. I was like, whoa, what's happening?
Every good pitch has always got one problem.
A swerve.
Let's get a rewriter on that one. What's that guy Joss Whedon? He's not working anywhere right now. Let's get him in on this. He'll do a little script doctoring on this one.
I think we've talked before that I adored Snyder's usage of Cyborg. I think that's the single best Cyborg story I've ever seen was in the Snyder Cut.
You know, when I heard this whole thing about the actor Ray Fisher having a problem with Joss Whedon, I thought this is just some prima donna crap. This because he's not even a freshman actor. He's like hasn't maybe done like 2 things before he did this, and it's like, I'm not really putting a whole lot of weight on this. It seems like he's just bitching and complaining. He's not going to get another job after this. But then, of course, things escalated.
See, that's what made me believe him. She was like, why would he put his whole career on the line if there wasn't something there?
And then when I saw, of course, I've seen Justice League, and then I saw the Zack Snyder, I was like, wow, there's a massive amount of content that was cut.
He's practically the main character of Justice League. He has such an arc throughout that movie,
and where there's like 90% of his stuff is cut.
Yeah, like he's.
I would be pissed off too.
Yeah. That's not even getting into like
whatever that Joss Whedon did.
Yeah, exactly.
Just being pissed off, being regulated to being Professor X up in the corner going, "Team, go get it."
Yeah, exactly.
That's all he really does.
But God, like that. The scene where he's exploring how his powers work for the first time and like that kind of mental cyber landscape, it was beautiful. I loved that. The scene where he helps the woman in poverty was like, this is what I like superheroes for.
When I heard that there was extra cyborg scenes, because I'd seen Justice League, like I said, and I'd seen Fisher and his rant on Twitter. It's like, I'm not going to care about this. Whatever extra scenes, is this going to be crap? It's just going to be like 20, maybe an extra 3 scenes. But like I said, all those scenes, I really had to eat my own hat. I got a new hat because I ate my own hat.
Because you ate the old one.
And I was like, wow. It definitely changed my opinion on the entire thing as far as Fisher's
You're living
rage.
that Borg life now.
I'm living the Borg life because the Cyborg really was the star of that movie.
And to a lesser degree, it's shocking that they cut out those 2 gorgeous Flash sequences.
Yeah.
Like, say what you will about Zack Snyder, but his eye is perfectly suited to the Flash. Like, just the way he interacted with the world, the way the swirling energies around him. The way they depicted time travel was incredible.
Because Flash in the Joss Whedon version felt like an afterthought.
Yeah, he's just there. It's like he just flashes in the Justice League.
He felt like such an afterthought. I thought he was miscast. I didn't think Ezra Miller did a very good job in the Joss Whedon cut. I was like, why did you cast this guy? I don't get it.
But then you watch the Snyder one, and you're like,
and it's like, okay, that's the Flash. I'm sold enough to watch a Flash movie now with Ezra Miller in it.
my favorite film critic, Darren Mooney, as he talked a lot about the Snyder Cut in the last couple of weeks, but one of the points he made was that the Justice League is essentially a movie about how Superman and Batman are the most important people in the world. The Snyder Cut is about how Superman and Batman inspire a greater next generation of heroes, a diverse coalition. You've got a black teenager, you've got an immortal woman, you've got a nice young Jewish boy, as Barry so kindly puts it. But and they talk so much about how, like, Barry mentions, like, Superman was my guy. Like, he inspired me to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, again, even Batman is inspired by Superman. He's like a born-again evangelist.
There was a deeper emotional investment in the characters.
Yes.
And you actually cared about them. You felt like, okay, the people that they've cast did their job. They came, they did their job, they conveyed the story that was supposed to happen in the first place. Instead of just being the cardboard cutout stand-ins.
Exactly. It wasn't just like, it's Age of Ultron, but with action figures.
I never realized that the movie was that hackneyed. And I have to say, I used to be a Joss Whedon fan, which is really painful to say. Really painful and all my friends will understand this. So to understand that he just dropped the ball so... I'm at lack of a proper adjective for this.
Cravenly?
Cravenly? Wow, that sounds like he had, like, agency in doing so. But
I think...
I got
a lot of thoughts on the Justice League, but I'm not gonna.
I'm sure that it wasn't just Joss Whedon at the helm that caused that. I'm sure there was some producers like, we want an hour and a half. Dude, I've got 5 hours of stuff here to work with.
That's the thing that shocks me. Is I think you could cut down the Snyder Cut to a really good 3-hour movie
Easily.
Like, because I loved it in its 4-hour time, but I understand I'm not gonna rewatch it anytime soon. I loved the experience, but I don't know when I'll get that chance.
Yeah, because the Themyscira scenes could have been cut. Not entirely, but a lot of the rally could have been cut because there was that scene was a little long.
Oh, I love the Steppenwolf fight with them.
It was brutal as hell, but I mean, if we need to do cuts, that's where I'd start.
Well, I start at the end and I just cut everything after the Deathstroke and Lex scene. I cut. There's some moments we can be a little judicial with the slow-mo, and we can trim those a bit. I don't need as many acoustic montages. They're very cool and pretty, but if we got to make it 3 hours,
you're not gonna like this, but you know that we have a differing opinion as far as Jared Leto Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe his scene at the very end was unnecessary, but I do think that the movie would have benefited from his usage elsewhere.
But yeah, I really want to see this happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen in this exact form, but I'd love to see where Snyder's going. And I'd also be content with he talked about maybe doing as a comic with Jim Lee, and I'd buy every issue of it. DC Comics, please make this.
Apparently, there was some severe politicking involved in this whole thing, and the only reason we even got this is because AT&T is like, people want this. Let's give it to
COVID times. It's something that we can pour money into.
Yeah, while Warner Media is like, no, because this will point out how much we fucked up the original movie. That's exactly what is happening, and it's the reason why even before the numbers came in about this movie, Warner Media is like, we're not doing any more movies, no sequels, no nothing, because apparently something's going on with Warner Media and AT&T, their parent company, and they're not exactly on the same level.
Yeah, interesting. I'm happy with the 4-hour superhero epic I got. I'm happy with the 9-hour superhero trilogy of Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League. But I wouldn't say no to a couple more movies, especially if I get to see Captain Cold.
Well, we're still
And
going to
the
get
Legion of
Flash. We're still going to get Aquaman 2. Everybody says it's the end of the Snyderverse. It's like we got at least 3 movies because Wonder Woman still made money after Wonder Woman 84. They're making a 3rd one. That's already going to happen. So that's at least 3 more movies of continuation that they could do whatever the hell they want with. They're not going to have Batfleck. They're not going to have Cavalman, but they'll have all these other characters to mess with. Honestly, I'm just happy that Marvel's doing so well.
Hey, man, healthy competition. Got to have both. Both.
Are we
forces.
recording? Because I've just been I've just been bullshitting this whole time.
Yeah, this has been recording.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah,
on that
they're
note,
mine.
Follow us, subscribe, give us likes, give us comments, sub to our Patreon, where we will be producing exclusive Boko content.
And as you can see, we talk comic books and crap even when we're not being recorded. So yeah, we hope you enjoy this episode of Justice League 2 and 3, as brought to you by Gideon Gonzalez and all of his narrative glory.
Well, Casey, I just have one more thing to say.
Okay, what do you got?
Some call me the Martian Manhunter. Good night, everybody.
Good night.